name is James Turner and I am Senior Solicitor at Lorraine Law, Barristers and Solicitors, located in Grey Lynn, Auckland, New Zealand. In this video I would like to talk about medical waivers, what they are, when you need to get one, and I will also give a few examples. The basic principle is that everyone applying for a visa in New Zealand must be of an acceptable standard of health, or ASH for short. Usually applicants for visas are required to provide general medical and chest x-ray certificates with their applications, which must be completed through an Immigration New Zealand approved panel doctor. An Immigration New Zealand medical assessor, who is a doctor, will determine whether you are of an acceptable standard of health. Note this doctor is different to the doctor that completes your general medical and chest x-ray. Now, there are some serious medical conditions which, if you have, you will deem not to be of an acceptable standard of health. Some examples include cancer and certain cardiac diseases. A medical condition will also make you not of an acceptable standard of health if it is likely to impose a cost on the New Zealand health system which exceeds a total of 81,000 New Zealand dollars. It is not relevant whether you can pay for the health services yourself or if you have private health insurance. If the Immigration New Zealand medical assessor finds that you are not of an acceptable standard of health, an immigration officer may consider whether to grant you a medical waiver. A medical waiver, if granted, means that the requirement for you to be of an acceptable standard of health has been waived, i.e. that an exception has been granted. Now, please note, medical waivers are usually not available as part of applications for temporary visas. There is one significant situation in an application for a temporary visa where a medical waiver is available. This is where the applicant is the partner or dependent child of a New Zealand citizen or resident, and the applicant would qualify for residence under the partnership or dependent child category if they applied. In other words, medical waivers are mostly only available as part of residence applications. There are some situations where a medical waiver is not available as part of a residence application. This includes applicants who require kidney dialysis treatment, have tuberculosis, or have a physical, intellectual, or cognitive or sensory incapacity that requires full-time care. If a medical waiver is available, an immigration officer will weigh up the reasons for and against granting it. Factors the immigration officer will consider include the cost the applicant will impose on the New Zealand health system, whether the applicant has family in New Zealand, whether the applicant's contribution to New Zealand will be significant. If the medical waiver is granted, this may result in the visa being approved. Now I will give a few examples of situations where we have had medical waivers approved. First of all, I would like to say that in Lorraine Law we tend to be confronted with a lot of bottom-of-the-cliff situations. For example, where the applicant is very unwell, requiring urgent or regular hospital treatment. This type of situation is not ideal at all, as there is often very little we can do. In many situations, if you don't hold a valid visa, the New Zealand health system will simply refuse to treat you, or if they do, they will send you a bill for the cost of treatment. We have seen this many times. A technical point to note is that a medical waiver is not available to someone applying for residence if they are applying under one of the family categories, for example partnership or dependent child, where they were eligible to be included in an earlier application for residence as a secondary applicant, but they were not declared, were not included, or were withdrawn from the application. This is quite a tricky point to note, but it is a situation which a good lawyer should help you to avoid. Some common situations where a medical waiver can be granted include mild mental illness such as depression, high blood pressure or cholesterol. Severe obesity can sometimes be a problem, but an above average or higher BMI score is usually okay. These conditions are relatively common and are not something that creates a major problem for a visa application for New Zealand. Thank you for listening to my video regarding medical waivers, and all the best.